doctors.
Go!
You're watching Dr. Politics.
Well, it's Friday. We're almost through with June. We got a lot of rain this week, and it's all is good. It's we wait. And our shout out to our one of our loyal fans and viewers, Susan. Thanks for waiting for us. And we're live, as you can tell. There we are. Welcome, everyone, our many viewers. Busy week this week, and I tell you, I was kind of taken aback by the fact that Joe Biden called the Chinese premier a dictator. How novel!
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I mean, on the one hand, this is one of those rare occasions where I have to say I'll agree with President Biden. The way he said it, I mean, they're
Welcome,
trying to.
Dave.
Yeah, look at Dave, and we thought Dave was out there going to be promoting his book somewhere.
Yeah.
No, I hope you guys don't mind, and if it throws things off, I'll understand. But I'm on a cell phone. I still
No,
have
you're
it
fine.
on my phone.
Hey, you may want to turn the phone horizontally so you fill the entire screen.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
That's actually better. Yeah, that's better.
Okay, good. All right, guys. Well, no, I'm not promoting the book tonight, but it's been going. I've generated a few more posts on my blog, so I'm trying to write a little bit more and
Oh, nice.
get that out. And I did a couple that got some big interest and a lot of criticism because I sort of took a position in the race for president, and that is I backed DeSantis, but I wrote a somewhat of a critical piece on Trump, so I've been taking a lot of heat for that, but it's okay. What's that?
Well,
It's a DeSantis pin.
Okay, good, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, you will. Anybody criticizing Trump will get a lot of heat. Okay, that's
And here's a Maryland for DeSantis pin.
Yeah, okay, good. Well, I mean, I'm not a never Trumper. I like him generally. I'm just saying that, he already lost once. I mean, why take a chance?
Yeah.
And
we lost the House under him.
yeah.
We lost 2020. We could have probably taken the House in 2020, frankly.
Yeah.
And it's like this time around, all of his endorsements pretty much lost. Most of his endorsements lost.
Yeah.
From Dan Cox to the guy,
Dr. Oz, and
yeah. Man, McCormick would have been the senator from Pennsylvania if he had run.
Yeah.
Opposed to Mr. Hoodie.
Yeah, that's right. But so anyway, I wrote what I wrote, and sorry I take heat for it, but I stand by it. But
we had Governor Gilmore on our other show this past Wednesday.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he was talking about China and Ukraine and Russia.
Good.
We need somebody like him to run for U.S. Senate against Tim Kaine.
I agree. I like him, Gilmore, a lot, and I'm sure you guys like him too in terms of his. I didn't see the show, but in terms of the Ukraine and Russia, he's pretty tough.
Oh yeah, I mean, Governor Gilmore spoke at our Lincoln Reagan dinner, and wildly popular. We ran out of food. We had over 300 people in the room for Governor Gilmore.
Oh, good.
And we only were planning to have like 2 something.
Oh wow.
They had, so, and then Governor Allen did the same thing. We had Governor Allen a year later.
Oh, good, yeah.
But we planned better. We figured we could have more people rushing the door at the end. So we kind of planned better. So our 2 Virginia governors have been probably the best Lincoln Reagan dinners in Montgomery County in recent memory.
Yeah.
But we were talking about Joe Biden calling out the Tricoms as a dictator.
Right. And didn't they try to
Xi
back away from it?
Jinping. Yeah, what's that?
Well, didn't he try to back away from it or softball it somehow?
Yeah, he probably got a call saying, "Hey, your check this month is going to be held up a little bit."
Yeah. Well, that's what happened with remember with the balloon, and he tried to downplay that. I guess
Yeah.
to try to curry favor, or at least to soften the relationship with the CCP.
Yeah, I mean, Blinken went over there to reset relations with China.
Grovel. He went there to grovel, is what he did.
Yeah.
It is like Alan Dulles is turning over in his grave,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
as is John Dulles.
Yeah. I agree.
They're rolling over in their graves, and they were both Democrats who probably wouldn't recognize the Democrat Party today.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's such a shame that between Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, they gutted the CIA.
Yeah.
As I like to say, remember the CIA? They used to destabilize governments all over the world and help us topple them. And now it's like we don't do any of that stuff. Remember Iran? We took out, we installed the Shah, and things were good.
Yeah. Operation Ajax. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, Joe Biden. And by the way, I think I don't want to pay my tax for the next 5-6 years. See if I get the same treatment that Hunter got.
Yeah. You know what I'm amazed at is that they still protect Biden, and you can still see it even now because A, they could have gone much harder after Hunter Biden. They didn't. B, whenever Joe Biden's questioned about this, he's allowed just to skate, or he's never really questioned, or if he did, there's no follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing a clip of an interview, and maybe it wasn't recent, but he talked about how I'd never talked to Hunter about business. But there's never like a follow-up about, well, no, you did because here's this evidence or that evidence, or someone asked him, started to sound tough and said, well, did you know about his businesses? And Biden said, I just told him, be careful. That's all I said. But think about it. If you got a kid and you find out your kid has a job with a Ukrainian energy company, wouldn't you ask a few follow-up questions? But Biden makes it sound like, oh, I never asked him.
Why did Joe Biden have the prosecutor that was looking at Burisma fired?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this: Joe Biden is showing such a lack of leadership, and even in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Both President Bushes put together a coalition of over 100 countries when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, and when we needed to liberate Iraq the second time around.
Yeah.
Joe Biden can't even pull off a coalition of 25 countries.
Yeah.
Basically, the Europeans are leading on this effort. The Poles are leading on this effort.
Yeah.
We're kind of, I guess, Joe Biden is leading from behind.
That's what they say. Yeah, but yeah, it's a sad. I never thought we'd descend as far as we have. I never thought they'd have the pride flags hanging up in the White House. I never thought that would happen either. So
they're flying over every government building.
I saw that. I was in Arlington County for an event on Friday, and I parked my car, and the courthouse was across the street. And then I looked, and it looked different. And then I realized what it was. The American flag, the Virginia flag, the Arlington County little flag, and then the pride flag. So I never thought I'd see that on a government building.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm amazed at as well? I see this now all the time. I used to, but I see almost every...
Hey, Dave, your audio is a little popping. You may want to move back or closer to the mic. There's some popping.
All right. Am I okay now? Better?
It's better, but it's fine. We can live with it. It's not that bad.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. Well, I'll sign off early because I don't want to distort your...
No. You don't need to sign off. You can stay on. It's not that bad.
Well, anyway, that's just my thoughts, random thoughts there.
Mm-hmm. So, Don, Joe Biden says inflation's under control.
Well,
Is it?
it's gotten better, right? You can
Is it?
technically say that when inflation has gotten better after
Yeah,
you
just
go to
it's flat.
40-year
What's
lows.
happened is inflation is flatlined. It's not even got. It's not like prices have come down. It's flatlined. Because you know my thing. Pizza and ice cream, and when you have to pay per jalapeno opposed to by the pound, you know, jalapenos are 33 cents each, not 33 cents a pound, or even. I mean, I had no problem paying $1.99 a pound for jalapenos. Even $2.49 a pound. I didn't like it, but I still paid. But 33 cents each. I mean, come on, that's crazy.
Hey, look, we can afford to buy eggs again.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Is the dollar store going to bring them back? Is dollar was it Dollar Tree or the Green Dollar or whatever the one that has the green logos?
Yes, Dollar Tree's the big dollar store here.
Yeah. Are they going to bring eggs back now that the prices have fallen?
Yeah, they might. They I think the avian flu, the bird flu's behind them. They've got the hens back up and
Mhm.
laying eggs and things like that. I mean, that's
So are we going to
one
see
thing
a
that
sharp spike in Americans' HDL levels or LDL levels, I should say, because of the price that Joe Biden is giving everyone high blood serum cholesterol?
yeah, unfortunately, I mean, we're just seeing how uneven this is. I mean, egg prices are finally coming back to some relatively normal level, though not as cheap as they were, still at pandemic time or pre-pandemic time. Uh, but other prices, you know, economists love to use the word sticky, for
Hmm.
inflation, and that's really where we are. Is just that there are lots of things that have prices that are sticky. I mean, they're you know the input costs have gone down, transportation costs have dropped a little bit, production costs have dropped a bit, but the price that you see at the store shelf isn't going down, and so this is a problem for all of us that
Hmm.
once a lot of these price hikes have gone into effect, not likely to see much in the way of rollbacks. So you've got a new baseline level now to deal with, and I mean the Federal Reserve, they want a 2% target for inflation, so they can be a little more confident about dropping interest rates again.
Hmm.
We're still more than double that. It's going to take it may take another year before we get down to
Yeah,
anything
and the
close.
good news for the people, it might be too early to say, but it looks like we're avoiding the catastrophic recession that everyone was predicting prior.
Yeah,
But we're not out of the woods yet. We're
no,
not out of the.
it is interesting. I mean, I think people were poised for a recession, but Americans we're still spending money, right? They're even. I mean, our credit card debt is now starting to hit record levels, but
Yeah,
that doesn't seem to bother people. They want to go and do things. I mean, you
I
read
tell
about
you, there's a
travel.
YouTuber named Caleb Hammer, and I think everybody, not just Gen Xers, not just Gen Xers, but everybody should watch it. He is hilariously funny. He has these people on his show, and they talk about all sorts of silliness. You know, this is his channel on YouTube. And Caleb, go here. Let's see. Here. Let's listen to one of his shorts. Hold on a second. Oh, where's the unmute? There it is.
Say that I'm hoping to pay that off a lot faster to save on some of the interest costs.
Oh, we're gonna 7%. You we're paying it. Yeah, you're damn right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we immediately go to the next one, and we decided, oh, we're 24. We better get a brand new, awesome car.
Yeah.
Gotta get a Tesla. Where you owe 51,628. Kill me now.
He is hilarious. Well worth the watch. Um, And when you hit the like and subscribe button for our channel, go check out Caleb's and follow him. He's hilariously funny. Um, and it's always funny how he gets people on there. He has all sorts of times. Like he had this one kid who quit his job to pursue a career in modeling, which I thought was funny. And but yeah, so I think and repossessions of cars have gone up too.
Yep, the repo man is back in business, and yeah, I mean, look, I mean,
And I've
Americans.
heard these banks don't want these cars now because the value, like people who bought a used car a couple years ago paid way more than it was worth, and now depreciation is hitting again. So now it's worth less than what they finance. So repoing a car, because I mean, if somebody can't pay the, do the monthly payments for a car, they're having a hard enough time as it is with paying it. What are the odds the repo company is going to be able to collect whatever that's owed? And I tell you, these car loans, anybody can get a car loan. Anybody. It seems like you could have a credit score of 480 and you can still get a car loan. You're probably paying 27% interest, but hey, you're getting a car loan. You get to buy a brand new car though.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
I mean, 20, 30 years ago, I mean, car loans were 3 to 4 years in length. Now they're 7 to 8 years in length if you're buying
yeah.
a new car. It's like you want to, it's you want to spend that much time paying off
Hmm.
a vehicle that generally will depreciate fairly quickly.
Hmm.
Um, you know, th- but the car values have held up, post pandemic fairly
Hmm.
well. So you know the loan companies, whether or not it's a bank or some other finance company, we always have to remember that you take out a loan, you owe that money, and if you give up your car, if they repo your car,
Hmm.
and they go and they sell that car and they don't get all the money back that from the loan value,
Hmm.
you still owe the difference back to them. Now, whether or
Yeah.
not they'll ever be able to collect it, I mean, if you don't have the money, you don't have the money. Uh,
Yep.
but you're still technically on the hook for that money, unless you decide that your debts have overwhelmed you and you're going to declare bankruptcy. Which,
And a lot of people will do that, which I think is foolishness, frankly.
well,
And,
yeah, I mean, I look and I think if we're seeing reports of where there's record consumer debt now,
yeah.
people have used up all their pandemic savings and all this
Hmm.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next shoe to drop will be bankruptcies because you cannot, we as Americans, we cannot pile up all this debt, and think that everything is peachy keen.
Yeah.
You owe that money. You legally owe that money. So
Yeah.
bankruptcy is the only way to discharge most of those debts. That's not
And
good.
no, and what's going to happen is folks like you and I, if we ever want to buy a car, I pay cash for it unless I get some special incentive. In that case, I might finance for 3 months or something like that. But it's one of those things that's like, I'm still gonna be paying more for the price of the car to make up for the losses they've had on the cars that they had to have repoed and they had to sell at a loss. But I tell you, it's a good. I think in about 6 months it'll be a good buying opportunity for if you want to buy a used car, a late model car. You might be able to get a good deal on them.
Yeah, that's possible. It's hard, it's those things are kind of hard to predict. I mean,
Although I hear used SUVs are still going to be, there's still a premium for SUVs like my Yukon, evidently.
yeah. And you like to go get the, shiny new car. We've been in
Oh,
the
I don't. No, I only got the shiny new car last time because I usually buy a used car. This is the only second brand new car I've ever bought, actually. The previous Yukon I had, it was a year old used. It was I bought it in 2016. It was a 2015.
Did you get it
I
from
bought.
did you get it from the dealers then though still?
Yeah, I got it from Sport Chevrolet. Yeah, and Sport Chevrolet, they really take care of you. By the way, they're really good salespeople, good people, and they take good care of you over there at Sport, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we
they,
we've we've done the auto broker route for years now because we've got two of them right here in our area. you know, of course, I mean, that means is that, you're kind of focused on, Lexus, Mercedes,
Yeah.
BMW, that type of thing. You rarely get anything, you rarely see a Toyota or anything else like that. It tends to be the luxury brands that these
Yeah.
guys have. But I think during the pandemic, they had a bunch of different things because they were just trying to get whatever cars they could just to keep the business running.
Hmm. So they probably do have large SUVs and stuff, but they're probably in there. They have the BMW SUVs, not the
Well,
GMCs or
yeah,
Chevrolet
I know,
Tahoes.
I know. Young, she just out of curiosity, it's kind of like houses. She checks
Yeah.
on things from time to time, and I, Tesla, I think had some super expensive model, something that goes for 100,000 or more, and
Yeah. The Model X. Yeah.
they had at one point in time they had a couple of those, so they weren't pristine, but
Hmm.
they had a couple, and they had I think they wound up selling them. So
Hmm.
I thought, whoa, that's a lot of money, but people love these cars, and yeah, it's like I don't drive enough now. I'm like, this is great. I mean, I've got a 6-year-old car that I bought. What was it, 3 or 4 years ago, and
Hmm.
I've got 45,000 miles on it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this may be one of the last cars I will ever own at the rate I'm driving.
Yeah. I mean, I just got to like around 38,000. You know, if I drive to Florida again, I'll probably hit the 50 mark at that point. Get not 50, 40,000. Because when you're in Florida, if I'll drive down to Jupiter, visit my mom, down to Boca, visit my sister. So, I'm doing a fair amount of driving. Although, I do like the flying to Florida and just renting a car at the airport. I can rent a Yukon if I want. And I have actually several times. Uh, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just I've been driving SUVs for a long enough of a time that I just don't like driving cars anymore, sedans anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, everybody's got their preferences as to what they like to drive and what they
Hmm.
want to do, and I'm a big fan of kind of fly to a location and then rent a car and drive around. Just
Yep.
you know, rental cars aren't cheap like they used to be, but on the other
No.
hand, if you can save 6, 7, 8 hours or more, in terms of drive time by just flying, even if you're
Hmm.
spending time in the airport waiting around, it's still not as tiring as driving long distances as
Yes.
so
And let me tell you, I drove to Florida this last time, and I actually felt like 2 days after I got there, I was still tired. I felt, I actually usually driving to Florida is like nothing because I'll drive and I'll stop in Florence, and but I left early and did something crazy and made it there in one day. I'm never going to do that again. That's just too much driving, I think.
yeah,
But
like I said, I'm all in favor. I mean, Young's not crazy about it. She thinks that our
she drives a lot. Didn't she drive to Arizona a couple years ago?
I mean, she drove to Arizona to get Spencer the car out there when
Hmm.
Spencer moved, which has been 4 years now, a little over 4 years. But yeah, she's fooling herself if she thinks she can do any of those cross country drives anymore, because she'll go shopping for an hour somewhere, either whether to Costco or other places, and she'll come back and she'll just crash for 2 hours. You know,
Hmm.
our age catches up with us.
It
Okay.
does. I've noticed that now I do need. I used to be able to get by on 4 hours of sleep. Then it went up to six, and now I need a full 8 hours. Otherwise, I am like around 2 o'clock. I am like fighting to keep my eyes open. And I feel I need to take a nap. Brian, that was a great article you shared on Facebook earlier this week about the benefits of taking a nap.
Yeah, just reminds like no shame in taking a nap. I mean, that's part of my daily routine.
Oh, I tell you, as I tell kids, you want to nap now because when you get older, you're gonna want to nap, and you're not gonna be able to nap. Enjoy it. Sleep
Yeah, I
in.
mean, look, I mean, if it's, I mean, look, and I've been napping since I was in like high school or whatever. It's like it. There may have been a stigma, back then, but now people are more willing to admit that they need those naps, even for other people who, power naps are fine too, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes,
I mean, I would like to do a, because my sleep tracker doesn't kick in unless it's more than 45 minutes if you take a nap. So I like to try to shoot for an hour, but I never can seem to get to an hour. It usually is like, even with the blackout shades pulled and all that, make the room dark as possible. I still cannot get to over, like it's either between 20, sometimes it'll be only 15 minutes, and I'll think I've been sleeping for an hour. And I look at my watch, it's only been 15 minutes, I'll try to go back to sleep and can't do it. But yeah, it's good to sleep. It is good to sleep. Sleep is good. That's one thing the pandemic, I think, that is the one biggest advantage of working from home is you're allowed to take a nap, you know, in the middle of the day. You can take a nap at lunchtime, in the middle of lunch, just take a nap for an hour and you're refreshed. And I think that's part of the reason why people are more productive from working from home because there is no stigma in taking a nap. I mean,
yeah, no, I think there's some truth to that. So you know, more power
yeah,
to the
so,
naps.
yeah, I mean, we've had, yeah. I mean, look, Joe, just think how much better Joe if he took a nap.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's actually kind of sleepwalking as it is. It's just
Mhm.
I don't know.
But
There was a thing today I saw late this afternoon where he was with Modi,
mhm.
and apparently, I guess they were playing a song, and he put his hand over his heart because thought it was going to be the national anthem, and then realized it wasn't the national anthem. So he slowly slid his arm down so he wouldn't look so conspicuous. It's like, once again, it's like, you know, I want I want the president of the United States to be a strong president of the United
Mhm.
States and all this. This, unfortunately, President Biden is a complete embarrassment.
Mhm. You saw AOC boycotted Modi's speech to Congress.
Oh, did he? Did she?
Yeah, yeah, her and the squad, because he's oppressive to the minority religions, aka the Muslims, which make up 14% of the population. As I always like to say, a lot of countries are free in religion, but I'll tell you, the majority religion is a little bit more free than the minority religions, frankly, And it's, you're not going to, if you're in a country that's majority Hindu, you're going to celebrate Diwali. You're not going to be celebrating the Muslim holidays. You're not going to be supporting, although in India they do celebrate Christmas and those are recognized holidays you get off. But then again, there's a large Christian population in southern India as well. And
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, my religion's got,
yeah,
missionaries scattered
yeah.
throughout India. That's not an easy road to hoe.
No, do you remember Bruce Blossom from NET? He did a mission in India.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was telling me about how he loved it there. He traveled everywhere by train. I go, really? I go, you really liked it. You really have strong faith in God that you're taking the trains in India all over. And he was telling me how he's even ridden on top of a train, like you see in the movies. And I'm
Yeah,
like, are you insane?
yeah. We have a young man that's here right now, and he's waiting for his visa paperwork and everything to get approved, so he can go to New Delhi. But we just had some kid come into the area, and he came from India,
Mhm.
but there's a limit. They have a limit as to how long they can stay there, and then they get kicked out. Then they could reapply and go back, but depending on how much time there is,
Yeah.
it may not be worth it because there are some of these countries where the bureaucracy is just painfully slow on getting visas.
Oh, it is. And let me tell you, not only, I got a friend of mine, he actually moved from California to Bangalore, working in IT. And he says it's great. He goes, I got a servant, I've got a driver, I've got, I could never afford to live like this in California. But he was telling me he's been there for 5, 6 years now. My friend Dan, and he tells me, he goes, he has seen the changes even there with the woke ideologies and all that. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of anti empire sentiments there. They don't like the Brits as much as they used to like the Brits. The elders still like the Brits. But a lot of these kids who never been never have known a time when the British ruled the country, uh, have all these whacked out views about renaming Victoria. Queen Victoria has a park. They would have that renamed. They would have renamed Victoria. No, Queen Victoria has a train station. Queen Elizabeth has a park. And King George has something. They got other stuff like for the Viceroy. And they got statues of Queen Elizabeth, not Queen Victoria, all around Bombay and Delhi. And so they want to take those statues down. And I'm like, what harm is it doing, frankly? I mean, you guys should understand. A descendant from the colonies is now the prime minister of the empire. That should be a source of pride, not not this dislike of the empire. And we're seeing this here in America too. Oh, we got to get rid of Columbus Day. It's a horrible day. And I'm like, why? Columbus didn't invent slavery. Columbus was he discovered the United States. Well, actually, he discovered Cuba. I should say, America Vespucci discovered America. But at the end of the day, what harm is it that Columbus Day is a federal holiday?
Yeah. I mean, that's like you said. I mean, it's all this kind of woke nonsense, this political correctness, and just the left rewriting history and to fit a new narrative.
Yeah, they don't understand. A lot of these people they take. It's kind of like this, right? You watch it. Let's see. Here's an old movie from the old days, where people watching it today, like Airplane. Hilariously funny movie, but today it'd be canceled because there's a couple of scenes in there by today's standards would be questionable. I mean, they've done that with the big. They've done that with. I mean, people try to cancel Leave It to Beaver because there wasn't a single black person on the show. They do that to I Love Lucy. They do it to, and it's like you can't judge the past by your standards of today. Was it wrong? Yes, it was, but it's they want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's like the Andy Griffith Show, great show, a lot of moral lessons there. And when they say, oh, they didn't do anything about they didn't talk about civil rights or anything like that. It was small town America. Right, they were more concerned about church and the pie eating contest at the county fair than they were. It's like it's an escape.
Yeah, the left has taken a lot of fun out of living.
They have. I mean, what is it? I mean, Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben's. And these are iconic brands that have had their mascots for them. It'd be almost like if McDonald's got rid of Ronald McDonald because he promotes unhealthy eating habits.
Yeah, well, I mean, what was it also? I mean, the animal crackers got rebranded, right?
Yeah, they're not in jail anymore. They're not circus animals. They're free.
It's like heaven forbid that children eating those animal crackers were becoming, they were crying over circus animals and stuff like that. That's it's like thank you, PETA, for turning 5-year-olds into animal rights activists or something. This is absolutely crazy.
And PETA, last time I checked, there were no animals used in the creation of those animal crackers. They do realize that, right? It's a cookie. It's basically, it's also a cheap cookie.
It's a bunch of flour.
Yeah. It's and it's not even a good cookie. It's a cheap cookie. They used to have chocolate chipped animal crackers at one point.
Mm.
It was like
I will say.
What were those little cookies that were like? They were like the cheapest cookies you could always find. They're like 50 cents a pack. They were like flowers with a little hole in it. You can stick them in your fingers. I forget the name of the Murray's used to make those cookies, and a bunch of other people. They're like shaped like a flower or something like that. And they are.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. Yeah, I don't know if they were just standard butter cookies or something like that, but
I don't even think they were butter cookies. They were like they weren't soft like butter. I mean, they were like it was your basically animal cracker stamped up like a flower, with a hole in the middle. And but it was their version of animal crackers had the little chips in them.
see, animal. My late mother-in-law loved animal crackers for a long. It's like I remember growing up eating animal crackers, and so Young would buy those huge
Yeah,
jars you could get at Costco,
yeah.
of the Kirkland brand or whatever they were.
Hmm.
Um, but you eat a few of those, it's like these are really bland and really tasteless.
They're not that. When you're a kid, you like that a lot,
Yeah,
but now it's like, how
I'm
can I
like,
like
why
these?
was I eating these?
You eat like three of those and you're sick of them. And it's like there's no real taste.
Give me the honey grams, the Teddy grams, the chocolate. Those little cookies. I could eat a ton of those.
I
Just
used to love ginger snaps growing up. I can't
oh
stand
man,
ginger
oh yeah,
snaps.
ginger snaps. I mean, it's a little bit of an acquired taste though.
Yeah, I mean, I also used to like those lemon flavored cookies. Can't stand those anymore. And I used to love what do you call those popsicles? By the way, speaking of popsicles, and Good Humor is getting rid of their toasted almond crunch bar.
Which I don't think I really ever ate before because I'm like I was always the standard, just the chocolate covered, the vanilla with the chocolate,
Oh, those were good. They
and
had
and
a
and I always like strawberry shortcake. So
and they had a strawberry version. They had a chocolate version, which is like called an eclair. And the
oh
toasted almond
yeah,
was
yeah.
the toasted almond was by far I think the best because it had a nice little taste to it because almonds and the sweetness, you know. But that's gone. It's gone. No more will it be back. And it's
I don't know if was that I didn't look into that. I didn't bother reading all the articles.
Under the supply chain issues. I blame Joe Biden. There's not enough people in California to harvest the almonds for Good Humor to put them on there. But yeah, that's been canceled. Yeah, I cannot believe why some of these people are running for president. You saw Will Hurd.
Yeah,
Why are you running, Congressman? Then again, I would say if your name is not Mike Pence or Ron DeSantis, just drop out. You have no chance of winning. I'm sorry, you don't have a chance of winning.
well, the other thing too is that the RNC. For the debate rules, they're going to have to poll at least 1% in a bunch of polls, and they need 40,000 individual donors.
Hmm.
Um, you know, not necessarily high thresholds, but for some of these candidates, you know, getting 40,000 individual donors will not
Yeah,
be easy.
yeah,
As if you always, you probably got one of these too. I saw an email from Bergam the other day. Please send me $1 because that's all they need.
yeah.
Send if they can get 40,000 people to send them $1, they qualify that way. Then they just got to get to the 1% to get to the
Hmm.
debate. But I'm not. There's people like Bergam and Hurd. Their name recognition is so low. I'll be surprised if they can get
Hmm.
0.5% in a national poll.
Unless one of them becomes the Gary Hart of the Republican Party. Remember Gary Hart in 1984? Walter Mondale was supposed to be, a coronation for him to become, and then out comes Gary Hart out of nowhere. And then Gary Hart, but I believe Gary Hart was also from Democrat Leadership Council, the DLC wing of the Democrat Party. Gary Hart, Bill Clinton,
Mm-hmm.
um, just think if Gary Hart had the audacity of Bill Clinton, he could have been their nominee in '88 and lost to George H.W. Bush, but he dropped out after Monkey Business.
Yeah.
But we've got
Well,
oh,
you mentioned Pence. I do want to say this is just that I've always liked Mike Pence. I
I
think
do too. I like that. He's a nice
great. I think
guy.
he was a great congressman. He did a great job as governor.
Hmm.
He was a very loyal VP to Trump,
Yes, he was, and that's one thing I
which was
wish
not
some.
easy to do.
Yes,
And Trump threw him under the bus after the whole January 6th stuff. But I just listened to he did an interview with Jordan Peterson, and it was about an hour or so long. And I just, as I listened to the two of them talk and listen to Pence's answers and things like this, it just reminded me how good this guy would be
Yeah.
if he could get some traction. He would be a great president.
Hmm.
He's not an exciting, dynamic guy, but
Yeah.
he's really smart. And he was talking about things like, I never thought I'd see a day when our government was turning socialist. He says, because it's not Joe Biden, policies, really, it's Bernie Sanders and company
Hmm.
that are running, they're the ones behind it, which is exactly correct. Joe Biden is supposed to be this moderate Democrat, right, middle of the
Yep.
road guy. But you watch what this administration has done, and this has been a far left agenda that has been driven by the Bernie Sanders, the squad type of pressure in terms of where they're going. And Biden has he's basically just been folded over, just said, go ahead, it's a better plan. We can sell this plan. I don't have any idea what we're doing anyway, so let's go with this. As it continues to take our country down the wrong path.
Hmm. And I think one of the big things is I think Mike Pence is the grown up in the room. If Mike Pence can navigate the waters, if he can get through Iowa and New Hampshire with a decent showing, who knows? But I think right now we have too many Republicans running, and as it looks, Donald Trump's going to be our nominee with so many people running. But then again, Virginia had a primary this past week, this past Tuesday, and Amanda Chase lost her primary challenge. Is that a sign of things to come with the Republicans kind of waking up and saying that, hey, we can't elect, basically, I mean, and President Trump, with all due respect, he is wrong on Social Security. He's wrong on not wanting to raise the age for retirement. He is, and it's we're the Republican Party. We're not FDR and the Democrats that want to save Social Security and expand Medicaid and Medicare for people. Frankly, we are the party of reform. We are the party that wants to fix Social Security so it's there. You know, we don't. What is so bad if we raise the right now? What is it? 65 and a half is the retirement age right now.
No, it's 60. It's for people my age.
Mm-hmm.
It's 66 and 10 months.
Okay,
It's
okay,
effectively 67.
yeah. So I mean, if they made the retirement age, they take it up to 70 or 69, let's say. You know, is that so bad? Wait, taking it up by a year? No, I don't think so. I mean, my dad worked all way into his 70s. And he enjoyed it. And I myself, I don't even know if I'm ever going to retire, just because I don't know. I'd be bored out of my mind just sitting at home doing nothing. Frankly.
Yeah.
Um,
Something. There's no doubt that reform has got to be handled again. It used to be 65. They
mhm,
went through a reform, and pushed it up to close to 67. It effectively is 67, but they grant based on when you were born, what month you were.
mhm,
So because my birthday's in September, that's why I'm 66 and 10. But
mhm,
somebody born in December, basically they're 67. Somebody born in like July, they're like 66 and 8 months or whatever. So
mhm.
they had this kind of thing to just to get people up to 67, depending upon the day and the month, the year, the whatever they were born.
Yep.
Uh, would it kill people to ratchet up a little bit more? No, just because not a lot of people retire at these ages anymore anyway. Uh,
Yeah. And also, if you retire right now, if you retire at 72, you get a whole lot more money back. You
yeah,
know.
they send you, you can get that annual Social Security statement, and my last one, because I'm not, now my income was way down, so it's based on your top 10 years. So it,
Mhm,
my Social Security more or less is kind of set. It's not going to really change much,
mhm.
even because I'm not contributing that much more into the plan anymore. But yeah, if I take it at 67, in essence, I think it projects like 3,100 a month. If I
Hmm.
wait to 70, so in essence, wait 3 years, and then take it, I'm up to like 3,800 a month. I mean, I can make that work.
Hmm.
That's fine. So it's worth it. We're talking an extra $700 a month, or $8,000 a year if I can wait 3 years. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to try and do that. Unless my financial people say, you know, if inflation remains high and they keep boosting, having to boost the checks every January by larger amounts than they've had in the past, that actually might narrow that gap a little bit where it says, you could take your check a little earlier, but between 67 and 70,
Hmm.
that's not a lot of time. You're just basically taking a gamble that you will live to 70, and
Hmm.
our life expectancy is in the mid 70s or whatever it is these days. So
Hmm.
I mean, I think it's a safe bet. My father was 82, my mother was 97. I think I stand a decent chance.
Yeah, and here's also the thing. It's like, I mean, taking a gamble. I mean, I had a very good friend of mine who died at 22. I mean, we take a risk getting up in the morning, frankly.
Yeah, we every day, everything we do
As
contributes.
as our granddad would say, my eyes open in the morning, it's a good day. The day they
Yeah,
don't open, it's not a good day.
guys, if you don't wake up the next morning, that's it. You
Yeah,
won't
you
even.
got a bad. That's a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's like one of the biggest problems nobody seems to understand. And I think one of the biggest problems is, and this is from, I didn't think it was bad. I know there's always been a problem with people saving money and stuff like that. I never thought it was bad as it is since I started watching Caleb Hammer. I'm like, how is it that people don't slack away at least 10%?
Well, I mean, if you read the media, if you read the stories about, I mean, there's so many of these stories about what's the average, retirement savings,
Hmm.
outside of say Social Security, right? For people, in their 60s and 70s and things like that.
Hmm.
It's a shockingly low number. You know, you
It is.
you can't those most people cannot retire on that. Part of the problem is that there's a mentality with a lot of people that they think that Social Security is their retirement. It is a supplement. It is not your
Yeah.
retirement plan. You cannot live, the a person who earned 30 or $35,000, for most of their life cannot live off Social Security benefits when
They're
they're.
not going to be getting $2,500 a month.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not going to happen. It replaces a small portion of your income, and then you got to figure out the rest. And so, we have a problem with, there's still a savings gap here, and you've got state pension plans that have been badly mismanaged, and whether or not they'll be able to fund their pensions to their state employees, that's
Hmm.
still questionable because they overestimate the returns because that way they don't have to contribute as much to fund the plan, but that is kicking the can down the road to
Rest
when.
assured, the Pension Benefits Corporation is fully solvent.
Yeah, right, yeah, and well, what they
They're a
also,
client of
yeah,
mine.
they don't realize too is that, yeah, go ahead and slough off your plan to the PBGC, and then all they're going to come in and do is say, we're going to pay a percentage,
Yeah.
and they're not going to pay the whole thing. So
I mean, American Airlines was a big hit to PBGC. And American Airlines, was it American Airlines or was it TWA? I think it was maybe TWA. Yeah, TWA, I think, was the bigger hit to the pension system. But they are self-funded. When the government shuts down, they're still in business. They do not close. You know, but yeah, Pension Benefits Corporation. It's kind of like people think FDIC is. FDIC is not uh, covering. I mean, first of all, if you have more than $250,000 in any one bank account per se, that's stupid in any one bank. Don't do that. Not financial advice, though, but it's just stupid to do that. you're not going to be FDIC is not going to cover all that money, and they might not even cover the 250 of the way things are going.
Yeah. Well, another,
So
those banks that collapsed this year with, especially with Silicon Valley and
mhm.
what was it? Is it First Republic was the other one?
Yep. Hmm.
They were like mini Enrons to their employees
Yeah.
because they encouraged their employees to buy stock, the stock in the company. They gave them a
Hmm.
15% discount for buying the stock.
Yep.
People basically got nothing.
I never buy stock in, say, let's say if I was working for Leidos or SAIC, I would never buy SAIC stock or Leidos stock just because I've seen the Enron movie. Is that going to have the SAIC or Leidos? Probably not, but I don't want to chance it.
Yeah, I mean, the lessons from all that is just never put all your eggs in one basket. It's fine,
Yes,
it's fine to go and put a little bit in there. That I'm not going to complain about
I would
that.
say no more than 3%
Yeah,
should
a very
be put
small
in.
percentage, but there are a lot of people who think, oh, the company's done well, the stock's gone up, this is going to be my retirement savings, never thinking that the company could fail, and then when it
Hmm.
does, you get wiped out. I'm sorry. I mean, I feel bad for you, but you made a dumb decision to go
Yeah,
and basically put 90 to 100% of your savings into that vehicle.
I remember when Enron happened. I go, look, people decided nobody held a gun to their heads and you got to invest the bulk of your income into Enron. But they go, oh, they encourage that. Yeah, they also could say jump off this hill. Are you going to do that? No. Are you a lemming? It's like, come on. You're not in high school. Get over the peer pressure. Frankly.
Well, I mean, look, in the case of like if you're being offered a 15% discount to buy the stock, you've made 15%,
Yeah,
right? So you're thinking like, oh, well, this is like just found money. And it's
yeah,
like that's only if the stock is, the company stays in business and the stock goes up.
yeah.
Things go to hell in a handbasket. There's no downside protection for
Yeah,
you at
and let's
all.
just talk to all those .comers. And I was one of those few that worked for a .com where we were given stock options and all this fancy stuff, because we were all going to get rich, And boy, uh, 15, 16 months later, yeah, that right. I'm glad that I did not take the stock.
Look at all the people who dove into the whole SPAC, craze, in the last
Yeah,
couple of years. Most of the SPACs are basically going belly up.
yeah. Even the what do you call these alternative currencies like Bitcoin and so on is not as it's not the gold mine it once was, frankly.
It's interesting though because the development with Bitcoin is that they had a pretty big spike because
Yeah,
BlackRock is trying to form a Bitcoin kind of ETF, and so that's ramped up all kinds of speculation for Bitcoin and boost the price of Bitcoin. But it's like, do you really want to invest in that? I mean, it's yeah, that's pretty risky.
and let me tell you, look, if you want to invest, I mean, I've got some in those currency stuff, and I just did it, for like play money. If I lost it, it's not going to kill me. But the way you do this stuff is you don't, but they're encouraging people to kind of put their life savings into Bitcoin. It's kind of like, do you remember the was it the 18, was it the 1600s, the tulip bulb crash? People were exchanging tulip
Mania, yeah.
bulbs, and I kind of view Bitcoin as like, look at Ethereum is not what it once was.
Yeah, I
You know,
mean, Dogecoin.
Dogecoin, yeah, Jason Crot, Dogecoin,
Dogecoin.
I think people would have done better by buying AMC and GameStop, Frank, putting that money,
Yeah, it would have been nice to be able to ride the meme stocks from their low to their high and just cash
Mhm.
out, right?
Yeah, and but one of the things some of the things we've learned this week, I'll say is one, there is a two-tier justice system, that the liberals always decried. No, it's not about the rich and the poor. It's if you've got a D next to your name or an R next to your name. As I say, Joe Biden is making Vice President Agnew great again. I mean, Vice President Agnew doesn't look so bad after Vice President Joe Biden and President Joe Biden. Frankly, Uh,
Yeah, I mean, the way they treated Hunter there and how they done that. I mean,
Oh yeah.
probably no jail time, a diversion on the
Mhm.
gun purchase, how he lied on that. I mean, it's like, okay, I mean, the whistleblower that came out is just like, no, this is wrong. There's no doubt there was some chicanery going on around here.
Mhm.
Trump is right to criticize the treatment, the difference in there. Uh, though I will say, the one thing about Trump is that he's his own worst enemy because he won't shut up about stuff. You know,
Yes.
it creates another problem for him. He had this, Fox News. I mean, he had an interview with Brett Baer.
Mhm.
This is an opportunity to go there and really kind of straighten some things out and make your case and do this stuff and all this stuff. And he's still mad at people. Still, he's still, he's kind of, I'm never wrong. I'm always right. And he to me he just he just gave a very weak defense about the documents and stuff like that. I mean, I think the document stuff is a bunch of nonsense overall,
Mhm.
but he didn't help himself, and he just can't help. He just can't do this. I mean, uh,
Yes.
yet his poll numbers are still holding up.
Yeah. But honestly, he would have been cruised into a second term if he just stayed off the Twitter and stopped picking fights.
Yeah,
There's no reason, no, just stop it, I tell you that first budget, one where the Democrats shut the government down for, I think it was a long time, or was it the second, it was the shutdown that was in the winter months, for almost like 10 weeks, I think it almost went, where it's forbidden, like the Cheesecake Sisters that started making cheesecakes and selling them and then quit their government jobs afterwards because they were making so much money selling cheesecakes. Um, but that was one of those things where he got less money for the wall than he had before. He got less. I mean, he got less of the things he wanted. If he had just taken the first deal, he would have gotten. Is that the new art of the deal? Take the worst deal.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there are polls that are saying that a Trump people are weary of this, and they don't want a Biden Trump rematch. They're just tired of that. That's kind of they want something new and different. And
Yeah.
I will have a very difficult time if Trump wins the nomination. I'm going to have to do a lot of soul searching about voting, for president, in 2024.
Well,
I
I
mean,
hear Larry Hogan has not ruled out an independent bid for presidency. He's
well,
going to be the John Anderson of 2024.
there are also those rumors that the Democrats are worried about Manchin launching an independent campaign.
That's going to be the ticket Hogan Mansion 2024. You know, but I tell you, I think it's first of all, Governor Hogan. With all due respect, you're the governor of Maryland, not the governor of a. Not saying that Maryland's an insignificant state. Maryland is my home state, as it is yours. But whether you're a Democrat or Republican, being from Maryland, you're not going anywhere. Frankly, you're not going anywhere. Governor Agnew is the farthest any Marylander ever will get to being president of the United States.
Well, I think a guy like Hogan. I mean, I think a lot of these guys, they've jumped in, like you mentioned, Will Hurd before and stuff like that. There's a pretty big leap,
Yeah.
from House of Representatives where you're not a frontline guy to the presidency. Hogan, to me, still, I mean, if he would just run for Senate in Maryland, I think he'd have a good shot at winning a
Oh
seat,
yes.
and that would give him a bigger podium, spotlight, whatever you
Mm-hmm.
want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
to show what he can do there. Governor of Maryland, I just don't. Yeah, I don't. It's just not a big enough venue, kind of a thing
Mm-hmm.
like that. But being the senator, he could make some noise.
Because you know what they call Maryland, or right next to the capital, they call it Mississippi. You know, and this past week, United Way said how Montgomery County is not as affluent as we're one of the richest counties in America. And the United Way says, oh, there's a lot of people making less than $100,000. What is it? Less than $150,000 that live in Montgomery County. I'm like, that's always been the case. There's always been people that are, they're still making it, they're still living it, so to speak. And it's just really bad the way things are going these days in
Well,
local government.
and these blue states, it's been shown
Hmm.
that when you raise the income tax, you raise all these taxes and fees on
Hmm.
people, they don't stay. The-
No, they don't. I mean, I've got one foot in Florida as we speak. I've got like most likely I'll be there. I'll be in Florida the next 10 years easily. Enjoying paying little income tax. Watch the rockets take off from Cape Kennedy and the Space Force base uh, down the road from where I am. Uh, and it is hard on a lot of people, Susan. You're right. And I think the part of the problem is, as I've always said it, what's going to happen is states like Maryland, people can afford to move out of Maryland, they're going to move out. People, so Maryland will be left with people who, the Democrat apparatchiks and people who can't afford to leave the state of Maryland because they're stuck, you know. And that's what's going to, and that's not a good thing for states or countries in general for that stuff like that to happen. We see the idiocy. I mean, Will Jawando says if you raise rents by 10%, it's a forcible eviction. I go, no. I'm thinking like, no. I've got rental property. No, it is not. It's perfectly reasonable to raise rent 10% every couple of years. There's nothing wrong with that, frankly. And I see the county bought some building in Aspen Hill and sold it to some nonprofit for affordable housing because to prevent the new buyers. It's politics like this is why I'm stuck with two apartment complexes in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Frankly, and New Jersey's all got these kooky laws about trying to sell a building. I just gave up on that whole thing. You know, uh, let the property managers do what they've been doing. It's like it's idiotic the way the property, how how fast many of these blue states and blue counties are anti-property. They don't believe in property rights. You know,
Yeah,
but yeah.
look, there's a report about some of these bigger states, California, New York,
Hmm.
Connecticut, you know, hard big blue states, and they're now facing big deficits
Hmm.
uh, because the income tax rates that they increased in the last couple of years are really coming home to roost. I
Yep.
think a lot of people have left their states because of the taxation issue, and it's just it's not none of these places are friendly business climate, right? I mean,
Hmm.
that's why Texas and Florida are doing well. So come the next census, which is a number of years away,
Hmm.
we're going to see more representation in Florida and Texas,
Yep.
less House representation, in the Northeast and in the
Yeah.
West, like that. California lost seat before New York's lost. They're going to lose more seats.
I think Maryland might lose a congressional seat if this keeps up. Frankly, if the
Yeah,
exodus
I
from
mean, I mean,
Maryland.
it's in the realm of possibility because
I mean, it's like Montgomery County used to be home to over 130,000 registered Republicans, and that was just not that long ago. And now we're below 95,000 registered Republicans in the county. It is a clear lack of leadership. I mean, we were around 125, 130 range until about 2018. I don't know what happened after that, but we're now down to 95,000 registered Republicans.
I think I'm going to say that it's probably a combination of people leaving the state,
Hmm.
as well as others that have also
Yeah.
reflected their viewpoints on Donald Trump and
Hmm.
disaffiliated with Republicans. They could have re-registered as Democrats, Independents, or just non-affiliated. But
Hmm.
there's no doubt that with in a state like Maryland, Trump was not overly popular, and a lot of people just gave up their registration that way, which is a shame. But
Yes, that is true. We need to hold as many Republicans as possible, frankly. Uh, I think also with this past gubernatorial race, with Dan Cox winning the primary, we had a few people. We had some people that
yeah,
left the party as a result of
I
that
think, I
too.
think you're right.
And I think come home to the Republican Party. Frankly, Republicans, you don't want to be an independent. What are independents? Wishy-washy people who can't make up their damn minds. You're not like that. become a Republican again. Stop being, don't be so wishy-washy. So what? You didn't like Dan Cox. Like I didn't like John McCain. I voted for him too. I wasn't totally thrilled about the first gubernatorial election I was able to vote for in Maryland, Bill and Lois Shepard, but I still voted for them. You know, there's always Republicans we don't like, but we still vote for them. Just because they're better than the Democrats are, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I've been a pretty loyal Republican out
Yeah,
throughout my life, and
absolutely. And we've and it's one of those things. By the way, did you know the left is mourning right now because of I think about sometime this earlier this week was 1 year since Roe v. Wade was overturned by the
yep,
Supreme Court.
it's the one
Democrats
year
are.
anniversary. I mean, the thing is that for a lot of for Republicans, it not necessarily has worked out like they had planned because I don't know that they understood what a political football that was going to be, and
Mm-hmm.
that you have to pick your spots. I mean, I think that it's great that Roe v. Wade it was overturned, but I think there were some very aggressive Republican measures in terms of some states for abortion that definitely cost Republicans seats,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not on the state level or the national level. Congress and the Senate as well. I
Mm-hmm.
think I think some of that hurt them, and you this is where it always gets really tough because you've got to kind of put a little bit of pragmatism into this thing too. It's like, how far can we go? What is politically palatable?
Yeah, and I think, and here's the thing. Also, we've done a really bad job. Overturning Roe v. Wade has not abolished abortion across the land. States like Maryland, abortion is illegal. You can do, and some states will ban it. It's like some states, have those stupid cafe standards that they impose on everyone. Oh, California, and there's other states that does. There's some idiotic states like Maryland who's going to ban the sale of gas-powered cars in Maryland, and good freedom-loving states like Virginia where you can still buy a gas-powered Ford F-150 or GM Chevy Silverado on demand. That's gas-powered or even diesel, which is even worse. I think the environmentalists even hate that one even more than everything else. The diesel versions of these cars, and
Okay.
they.
So hey, so wait a minute. I haven't looked at the situation, but what you just said there just made me think about something about this
Mhm,
gas powered versus EV thing. Is that
mhm,
so? Say you were living in Virginia and you had a gas powered vehicle, but now the ban on sale of the new cars was in effect. So it's like 2035 or whatever it is. If you move to Maryland, can you register your gas powered vehicle if the vehicles are outlawed for sale? Or are they all grandfathered in, because you bought a car or you had a car from a state that actually recognized it was fine? Because, I mean, Maryland can't get rid of they're not going to be able to get rid of all the gas powered vehicles
mhm.
in 2030 or 35.
Yeah,
They just won't be. They're just saying, don't. We're not going to sell them anymore. But
it's like Montgomery County. You can't buy a gas-powered lawnmower in Montgomery County, I think, right now, or a gas-powered weed whacker.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's in effect yet, but it's probably close to it. Yeah, it's
Well, what's funny? One of the Chevy Chases banned gas-powered weed whackers, and it had nothing to do with the environment because people were they didn't like it that during cocktail hours people were out mowing lawns during cocktail hours.
well, I've been curious as to like an electric battery powered lawnmower, how long I could go on a battery before I'd have to go to the backup battery, how many times I'd have to switch out the battery to do my lawn.
Depending if you got that thick zoysia grass, I'd say you need about 6 batteries probably for. Because I know when I used to mow my lawn, the zoysia grass, because it's a thick grass, and I would have to empty the bagger a lot, and I would also have to refill the gas tank.
I've got it right now. The property I have right now, one tank of gas for a lawnmower basically is all I need to complete the entire lawn.
But I mean, true. I mean, a previous home I had where I was less than a half an acre, a tank of gas and a Sears 5 horsepower Craftsman self-propelled lawnmower. I could get 3 cuts before I'd have to fill up again. And if I had that zoysia grass there, I'd have to fill the gas tank up every time I cut because I don't know why it's not like uh, it's not mowing any more grass or anything like that, but it's just weird that way.
Yeah, the only thing, I mean, I grew up with my parents. My father loved Zoysia,
Mm-hmm.
and so every home we've had has always had Zoysia, and we watch it eventually, take over 70-80%
Yeah,
of the lawn or whatever before we moved, and I love it. But the thing I never have liked about Zoysia is that,
it
uh,
turns yellow.
well, that's fine. It's just that be, it doesn't really actually grow very tall. I mean,
Yeah,
but when because of the way it is and thickness and all that kind of stuff, and is that when you do cut it, it creates like a lot of dust,
yes,
right? It's like an incredible amount of like dust. I was like,
yes, it
you
does.
could choke on this stuff
Yeah,
in dry conditions. And
that's why I eventually just stopped bagging the zoysia
yeah,
grass.
I don't bag my lawn anymore. I haven't done it for a number of years.
Yes.
The
There you
county,
go, environment. I love the environment. I tell my gardener not to bag the grass also.
yeah.
So there you go. But I remember growing up, the lawn service, they'd always bag the grass and put it at the
I
curb.
mean, that was the way it was, for forever and ever. Everybody
Black
was
plastic
bagging.
bags.
Yeah, everybody was bagging their grass, and now it's like, no, grass cycle. Just cut your lawn and let the clippings, go back in and refeed the lawn. I'm like, fine.
I tell you, the ACLU has been running a lot of deceptive commercials on like the sub HD channels, like Comet TV and stuff like that. I've been trying to find those commercials on YouTube so I could do a little reaction video to them because they're outright lying there. They're saying there are states in America where brown and black people can't vote. I'm like, please tell me which state is it? I'd like to know which state is infringing on the constitutional rights of Americans. If you mean they're infringing on illegal aliens' rights to vote, they shouldn't be voting. Illegals are not allowed to vote. But and then they're talking about a woman's right to choose, how women's reproductive rights are at risk. No, they're not. No, they're not. They are not at risk. It is like the most, I mean, this comes from an organization that protected the right of Nazis to march in Skokie, Illinois. ACLU, brought to you by them. It's like, and I think part of the reason they may not have those commercials, right, out on YouTube or stuff, just because people like myself would pick those apart because they're so flimsy. So I actually dusted off my VCR and I am going to record one of those channels so I'll catch the commercial and I'll be able to digitize that commercial and put it up and finally do a reaction video to it. They got all these people, oh, brown people can't vote. We gotta stop this hate. It's like stop making stuff up. It's like fake news. It is ultimate in fake news, and the ACLU should be ashamed of itself for what they're doing.
Yep. Well, we're definitely overtime, Dwight.
Yeah. Final thoughts. You start, Don.
Okay. Final thoughts. We'll start off by saying congratulations to our friend Ryan Nidek.
Yes.
Starting his job in Raleigh, North Carolina with Red Hat, which is owned now by IBM. So good
Yep.
for him. We've known Ryan as a brilliant young kid,
Yep.
and he's going to go far. So hats off to him for Red Hat of all things.
Our loss is North Carolina GOP's gain.
The politics will be a little better for him in North Carolina.
Our friend Chris Stock. Chris. Take care of Ryan. You guys have got a gem right there in Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. Just also and then kind of go in the other direction. Just sad thing that happened with the Titan submersible and the implosion. I mean, I think a lot of us probably thought that this vessel probably did implode, when they had not been able to contact it.
Yeah.
And all that. What caused that? I don't know.
But have you seen, what really irritates me is all these little offensive memes about, Mark Safer having disposal of $250,000. Something. I'm sorry, the people have the money to spend. Why are you saying some of these people they're acting, oh, they deserve to die because they had so much disposable income. Like somebody posted, like, $250,000 could feed like 7 families. It's like it's not your money; it's their money to do with what they want.
They spend that money to do the Blue Origin thing to fly to the edge of space. I mean,
Oh, but that's with their hero Jeff Bezos.
mm.
So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the submersibles don't have any real regulations, so
mhm.
it's not like it's pretty loose out there in terms of exactly what you have to do to really be, pass any kind of safety inspection or whatnot.
Honestly, if anybody really wants to see the wreck of the Titanic, CGI. There was a video game where they had CGIs of the wreck of the Titanic. Just go there; it's a lot safer.
I don't know. I mean, it's like I wouldn't spend any money to be in a little tube where you basically fit 5 people and you're going like 12,000, 13,000 feet under.
Yeah.
It's like, it's cold, it's dark,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of danger in the
There's
fact
no beverage service. There's no salted
you're,
peanuts you get.
I mean, you're 12, you're untethered, you're 12,000 feet down. The risks are so high.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's. I mean, they have sent previous excursions down there, but it's a tragic loss of life from something that was not something that was really
And I
necessary.
think that submersible was really poorly designed too. I don't know why they didn't do a double hull
Yeah, I
for
mean,
it.
I think there are a lot of questions about exactly how this was done, and I'll leave it to the experts to go through this.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be a lot of analysis about that. Um, but I mean, look, I mean, Susan saying, it's their money. They can do, they made the
Exactly.
money. They can do whatever they want with it.
I
You
mean,
know,
I say $250,000 a down payment on a nice house.
yeah,
Some parts of the country, it's the price of a house. Yeah.
yeah. It's just a shame. I also want to send my condolences publicly also to Jerry and Sheila Cave for the loss of their daughter-in-law.
Yes.
Tragic episode there where she died after complications of childbirth. I know this is devastating to the family. She was only
Mm-hmm.
32. So my prayers and thoughts go with the Cave family for their loss at this time. This was a real shame.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it.
Absolutely. Any other thoughts, Don?
That's it.
Well, let's start with Orioles Magic. They're the only team in baseball that have won series against the Devil Rays. I mean, the road to the World Series.
They're just the Rays now.
They're just the Rays, not the Devil. When did they
Yeah,
stop being Devil Rays?
they had to drop. They dropped Devil Rays several years ago.
Is it because of Satan?
Yeah, I don't know. It was probably politically incorrect at some point.
But the Rays, yeah, it's Orioles Magic. They the only team to do that. The road to the World Series goes through Tampa. And yes, the days are getting shorter. We had our solstice the other day. Big holiday in the East. It's marked by Tet. Is that the summer solstice? Or is that the winter solstice? That's the Tet. Tet. I think it is the summer solstice. That's has that Tet offensive took part on, which is largely misconstrued by 60 Minutes. But anyways, my final points. I could spend all day just railing on
Yeah,
60
I
Minutes
know
and
you
CBS,
could.
frankly. But final thoughts again. Like I said, congratulations to the Baltimore Orioles. Something. If the Baltimore Orioles were say to lose every single game from here on out, I'm still happy because the Orioles have had the Yankees numbers this year, had the Red Sox number this year, and it's a beautiful thing. They're within striking distance of the Rays because they dropped the Devil. And good job, Baltimore. But I hear there's rumors Peter Angelos is thinking of running for United States Senate. And for that, I say, Mr. Angelos, don't waste money on a Senate bid. Why don't you go start shopping and securing your free agents so you don't lose them next year?
Yeah, look, if he doesn't sign those stars, they're going to have
Yeah,
nothing next year.
yeah, I know. It's not, Orioles Magic is all we're going to have next year. Then Magic.
Yeah,
you know,
see, I mean, if the Orioles take some steps backward, then Cody won't have as much ammunition to fight against Corey. So
yeah. And yeah, Code Man. Yeah, I know. By the way, the Orioles have still lost fewer games than the Nats have won. No, actually, the Nats have won fewer games than the Orioles have lost.
Well, as my son Spencer said, he was talking with me. He said he was looking at some highlights of the last Nationals game against the Diamondbacks. He's like, I don't know who these people are, and that's basically the problem. Is that the Nationals team is made up of a bunch of people who there's a few prospects in there, but there's no stars on that team at all anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's to me it's barely above a AAA baseball team at this point.
Yeah, the Bay Sox might be able to beat the Nats.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I've been keeping up with the Bay Sox though, but I mean, PGGOP, you guys really should do an event at Bay Sox Stadium. It's really cheap to do an event there. You should think about doing something there.
yeah,
Another
yeah. I mean,
final
I
thought.
had a group out there last Saturday. It was great.
Yeah. And another final thought is we had a great time at the Red, White, and Blue dinner this past weekend. Governor Kristi Noem was the keynote speaker. Did a good job. There's some people that criticize her for wearing jeans, but hey, she's from South Dakota. She's not, she's not
I'm
all
glad.
cityfied.
I'm glad you said that because that was the thing. I saw some of the pictures and I thought she came wearing jeans. It's like
Yeah.
kind of interesting, but it makes sense at the
Hmm.
same point in time. So
Yeah. And and it was a packed house. It was a very good turnout. I think they had over 300 people there uh, at the dinner, or they just put all the tables really close together. But I think it was like 300 plus people in the room. But the tables were really close together too, which
and
is kind of annoying.
they did it at what was it, Marriott or some other hotel?
Yeah, BWR Marriott, same place. They had Vice President Pence. But yeah, I think they should have. Yeah, it was a great event. Susan was there with us, and it was a great event. Uh, I must say. But and then we've got a couple of things. As everybody knows, this is 2022 marks 20 years since Governor Orlick was governor, and I just thought I'd say, the when you use the Bob Ehrlich Expressway, the AKA the ICC, thank Governor Bob, because without Governor Bob, it'd still be undergoing environmental impact studies, and we still would not have the ICC. We'd have to use the other ICC, which was Randolph Road.
Yeah,
But
I mean, look
yeah,
how busy the ICC is.
I know they would have put speed traps on there. By the
Yeah,
way, I was at Goddard last not yesterday, but the week before. They had a speed trap on campus. I saw a cop standing there. I mean, really, the speed limit's 15. It's like you really are doing a speed trap on campus. It's almost as silly as the traffic cop at the Capital South Metro who likes to give jaywalking tickets to people that are walking over to the RNC.
yeah.
And
108. I think they've got. I guess it's speed cameras. They got the speed cameras. A couple of them within like 2 or 3 miles of each other.
yeah, they do. And by the way, I will tell you, in the last week we had a crazy woman from who had an op-ed. Her name is Ruth Malone. Where if you dislike a biker, it's like being against women's suffrage. It's like being a racist. I find it. Oh yes, that is true. Modi is in America. We talked about that earlier, Craig, and how AOC boycotted boycotted his speech to Congress, her and the squad. And I wonder what they made from him because he is a vegetarian. I found out today. I wonder what they made from. Hopefully, it's something better. By the way, my vegetarian meal at Red White and Blue was probably the best vegetarian meal I've had in a while at one of these dinners. They had pasta, and they had too much of the other stuff like squash and all that. I mean, just the red sauce and pasta, I would have been fine. You didn't eat.
Didn't our lieutenant governor go to the state dinner, right?
Which
For Modi. I mean, didn't Aruna Miller go? I think.
yeah, she went. Yeah. So Lieutenant Governor, every time you say Lieutenant Governor, I think of Boyd. I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not Lieutenant Governor anymore.
I try to forget this administration, but we have to live with it for a few more years.
I know. What's funny is like, I tell you that I know he spells his name with a T, but I love using those Captain Picard memes of "Shut up, Wesley." Like yesterday, he was talking, and I took a screenshot. I took a shot of the TV, created a "Shut up, Wesley" meme on there. It's like, I wonder how much. I hope it catches on. So Patrick Stewart jumps in and says, stop using stop using it," or something like that. By the way, also here's something else funny I want to share. There's a major truancy problem in Montgomery County Public Schools. Don, do you recognize this?
No, I can't see it from here, but
Okay, hold on. How about now?
no, Little Rascals.
That's the truant officer from Little Rascals. Because I mean, look at this. Truancy is up 33%. Baltimore, Harford County 29. Baltimore City 58%. Carroll County 27%. Howard County 21%, up from 7%. Anne Arundel 24%. Then again, I don't know if I should be rooting for the kids that are skipping school because they don't want the woke agenda. But yeah, truancy is a big problem. I wonder what the problem is in Montgomery County. And my alma mater, Montgomery Blair, is the largest high school population-wise in the state of in the county right now.
They have a
With
ridiculous amount of students. I know the school is big, but it's like, to me,
what's
isn't there a point
what's
where your school is just too big?
it's
I mean,
already overcrowded. It was built to a capacity of 5,000 students.
yeah. I mean,
They got
there's a new school over, that's coming online, and by Crown. So we'll see how that takes care of
you
what's
know,
going on up here.
and with Northwood, I wonder how big Northwood is because Northwood's also got to have a huge population too.
Yeah, I didn't look at that list I've been meant to look at where Northwood was, but I mean,
Are they going to rebuild WJ? Is that what they're going to do, Craig? Or are they next as in number two as in population wise? That'd be crazy if they are. And some would say part of the problem is we got all these illegal alien kids that are going to our schools, using up vital resources. But that's pretty much it from Final Thoughts this week for the road warrior, Dr. Thornton, who's on his way to Michigan. He'll be back next week. We'll all be back next week, and another exciting show. Next week should be a fun week. Actually, I think there's a lot of stuff happening. We got a new bull market. Let's see if it lasts.
yeah, this week wasn't very good.
It was not very bullish this week.
No, it wasn't
I think
at
the
all.
Bears may be back. And I want to leave everyone with one final thought: is that just perhaps, we were rooting for the wrong side in Star Wars. Maybe we were just rooting for the wrong side. The Empire wasn't so bad. Anyways, good evening. See everyone next week. Take care. Good night.
All right, see you.